The smile that lied. Rain pounded against the rusted sign of Eddie's Diner that night, the kind of rain that made the small town of Claridge look even lonelier. Neon lights flickered, reflecting off puddles that trembled every time a motorcycle engine roared by. Inside, the smell of black coffee and fried bacon filled the air, and behind the counter, a young woman with tired eyes tried her best to smile. Her name was Lena Hart, 27, with chestnut hair tied back and a bruise just faintly visible under the sleeve of her uniform. She kept pulling the fabric down every time someone looked. But that night, someone did notice. He was the last man anyone would expect to care, Mason Creed, leader of the Iron Vultures biker gang. The kind of man who made even the sheriff cross the street when he saw him coming. Leather jacket, scars on his knuckles, tattoos crawling up his neck, he looked like trouble carved into human form. But behind those steel-gray eyes was something else. Something few ever saw, regret. He slid into a booth, his heavy boots echoing against the floor. Lena approached nervously, pen shaking in her hand. "Coffee?" she asked softly. Mason looked up, really looked at her, and for a second, the diner seemed to fall silent. His gaze lingered on the faint purplish mark peeking from her wrist. "Yeah," he muttered. "Black. And, you okay, sweetheart?" Her breath caught. No one ever asked that. She forced a laugh. "Yeah, just clumsy." But Mason didn't believe it. He'd seen that kind of bruise before, on women running from men like the one he used to be. As Lena turned away, Mason's jaw clenched. He watched her walk toward the kitchen, her shoulders hunched like she was afraid to take up space. Something inside him stirred, something he thought he'd buried years ago. The camera zooms in on Mason's eyes as he notices a handprint-shaped bruise on Lena's neck when she bends down to pick up a fallen plate. The room's noise fades, replaced by the slow thump of his heartbeat. "Who did that to you?" he mutters under his breath. Little did he know, that one question would set off a chain of events that would shake the whole town to its core. Before we go further, if you're already hooked and want to see how kindness can come from the most unexpected hearts, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles. You won't want to miss what happens next. The next day, Mason returned to the diner. So did his gang, rough men with loud laughter and louder engines. Lena looked nervous, but Mason gave her a nod, silent reassurance. As she poured his coffee, Mason spoke quietly. "You live around here?" "Across the tracks," she said. "You got someone at home?" "Just, my boyfriend," she said hesitantly, "Rick." Mason's face darkened. He'd heard that name. Rick Porter, local mechanic, known for his temper and for the police calls that never led anywhere. That night, Mason followed from a distance after her shift ended. He watched her walk into a small, beat-up trailer at the edge of town. A man's shadow moved inside, loud shouting, glass breaking. Then, a scream. Mason's fists clenched around the handlebars of his bike. He revved once, hard, then stopped himself. This wasn't his fight. But the scream came again, sharp, terrified. That was all it took. He stormed toward the trailer, kicked open the door, and there stood Rick, red-faced, bottle in hand, looming over Lena. "Get out!" Rick snarled. "This ain't your..." He didn't finish the sentence before Mason's fist connected with his jaw. Rick crashed into a table, beer spilling everywhere. "You ever touch her again," Mason growled, "I'll make sure you never lift a hand again, for anything." Rick spat blood, sneering. "She's mine." "Not anymore," Mason said. "She ain't property." Lena sobbed, clutching her arm. Mason turned to her, his voice softening. "Pack your things, sweetheart. You're coming with me." She hesitated. I can't. He'll come after me." "Not if I find him first," Mason said grimly. That night, Mason took her to the biker clubhouse, a place of oil, noise, and men who feared nothing. But when Lena stepped inside, silence fell. The gang watched as Mason led her to a back room, offering her a blanket, food, and safety. "You're safe now," he whispered. "I promise." For the first time in years, Lena slept without fear. But outside, trouble was brewing. Rick wasn't done. And Claridge was about to witness a storm no one expected. The storm that changed Claridge. The news spread fast: iron vultures protect Waitress from abusive boyfriend. Some cheered. Others whispered that Mason had gone soft. Even Sheriff Dugan came knocking. "You can't just take the law into your own hands, Creed," the sheriff warned. "Law didn't protect her," Mason shot back. "So I did." Meanwhile, Lena began to heal. The bruises faded, but the fear lingered. Yet, every time Mason passed by, she felt safe. He started fixing her old car, bringing her books, and making sure she ate. His gang followed his lead, treating her like a sister. But peace never lasts long for men like Mason. One night, as thunder rolled over Claridge, Rick returned, not alone. 3 men from a rival biker group joined him, weapons glinting under streetlights. They stormed the Iron Vulture's garage, shouting for Mason. "You think you can steal my girl, Creed?" Rick bellowed. "She's mine." Before Mason could answer, Rick pulled a gun. Lena screamed, and in that instant, Mason stepped between them. The gun fired. The sound tore through the night. Mason staggered, clutching his side, blood soaking through his shirt. His gang charged forward, disarming Rick and his men, but Mason's only focus was Lena's face, terrified, tears streaming. "Mason," she cried, kneeling beside him. Why would you do this?" He smiled weakly. "Because no one ever protected my mom, and I couldn't let that happen again." Her eyes widened. Mason had never told anyone, but his mother had died at the hands of an abusive man when Mason was a teenager, the pain that had turned him into what he became. The gang called an ambulance. Mason barely made it through the night. When he woke in the hospital, Lena was by his bedside, holding his hand. "You saved me," she whispered. "Nah," he murmured, smiling faintly. "You saved me." A few weeks later, Rick was sentenced to prison, this time, for attempted murder. And Mason? He was a changed man. He left the gang life, sold his bike, and started a foundation for women escaping domestic violence. He named it Lena's Light. The whole town that once feared him now stood beside him. Even the sheriff shook his hand. And Lena? She became the first counselor at his shelter. 2 broken souls, rebuilding others by rebuilding themselves. A slow fade as Mason walks down Main Street at sunrise, leather jacket replaced by a clean denim one, his old gang patch now stitched into a charity banner. A voiceover echoes. Sometimes, the most dangerous men become the ones who protect the innocent. And sometimes, kindness rides a Harley. If this story touched your heart, remind yourself, kindness can come from anyone, anywhere. Don't forget to like this video, and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles for more true-to-life stories of compassion, redemption, and the power of second chances.